Are you a lifelong fan of General Hospital?
Are you a new fan who wants to know more about the history of the show?
Do you enjoy talking about the show with others?
Do you find yourself yelling at the TV?
Is your self-care an hour a day in Port Charles?
If so, we invite you to join hosts
Amanda Kimmel
and Shannon Coach at the place where all the hidden conversations take place and secrets are revealed.
Meet us at Pier 54,
a General Hospital fan podcast. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the Port Charles 411. Today we are talking about Lucky and Liz, part 20, and it's part 28 of Lucky. And the last episode we stopped with, that's when Lucky and Liz were broke and she was becoming the surrogate for Jax and Courtney. And, they were having financial troubles. They were having some personal troubles and things were just escalating.
Yep.
So today is, so we pick up in October of 2005 where Lucky surprises Liz with a romantic dinner at a closed Kelly's. That would have been really cute if Lucky had figured that one out.
Yes. Maybe he'll do that once she's out of the hospital or rehab or wherever she has to go.
Yep. Oh, so real quick, in case you're listening in the future, we are recording this on April 6th, 2025. So some of these things may not have happened yet, but he is playfully withholding her ribs until she agrees to a wedding date, October 28th. They run into Emily outside and invite her in, sharing laughter before Nicholas arrives. Excitedly, Liz and Lucky announce their engagement. When Nicholas and Emily ask how they can help, Liz insists their presence at the wedding is all that matters. As they toast with brownies, Nicholas and Emily exchange a bittersweet look. That's right, they hadn't gotten married yet because they were postponing the wedding, because if they got married while she was pregnant with the baby could have legally been declared his. Forgot to mention that in the quick recap. So then later, Lucky asks Nicholas to be his best man, which Nicholas happily accepts. However, Lucky drops a bombshell. He doesn't want Nicholas to bring Courtney. Nicholas agrees, reasoning that she wouldn't want to come anyway. Lucky sees the wedding as a perfect opportunity for a reunion and is thrilled when Nicholas reveals that Courtney encouraged him to reconcile with Emily, yet Nicholas remains suspicious of Courtney's motives. Meanwhile, Emily confides in Nicholas about planning a fairy tale wedding for Lucky and Liz, fearing he might find it awkward given their divorce. To her relief, Nicholas is on board, especially since Lucky chose him to be best man. They agree that Liz would love a grand ceremony, so they decide to surprise the couple to ensure they don't opt for a small wedding at Audrey's. Across town, Liz and Courtney meet at the park. Courtney reveals that she broke up with Nicholas to give him a chance with Emily, following Liz's advice. However, Liz regrets interfering and apologizes for making Courtney feel her feelings for Nicholas didn't matter. She encourages honesty, believing secrecy caused all their problems. This prompts Courtney to realize she must tell Nicholas the truth. Back at Kelly's, Liz and Lucky share hell. Liz shares with Lucky how deeply she loves him, confessing that her dream will finally come true when she wakes up as his wife. Meanwhile, Courtney meets Nicholas at the park and tells him she won't hold onto him out of obligation. If he still loves Emily, he should be with her. Sensing her unease, Nicholas presses her to be honest, and she finally admits she's pregnant. And that's Spencer! So Spencer's only 20, would be 20 this year.
Uh-huh.
As wedding plans progress, Lucky and Liz flip through magazines picking out cakes. When Lucky notices Liz bookmarking a wedding dress, he asks about her dream wedding. Though hesitant, Liz reveals she has always envisioned herself as Cinderella, but insists that all that truly matters is she's marrying the man she loves. Later, Liz visits Courtney, initially asking her to stay away from the wedding. However, after seeing Courtney's love for Nicholas, she changes her mind. If Nicholas wants Courtney there, she should come. Nicholas, torn between Courtney and Emily, confesses to Lucky, while Emily will always be special, being with Courtney feels right. They respect each other as equals. Lucky relates, expressing that Liz makes him feel the same way. Meanwhile, Courtney has a similar conversation with Liz, who urges her to be honest with Nicholas. Ultimately, Courtney decides to leave town for a while sorting things out. Liz runs into Nicholas and urges him to speak to Courtney before it's too late. As Lucky prepares for his wedding, he is surprised to find Luke in the park. He tells his father about the wedding, hoping he'll attend, but Luke scoffs at the idea of marriage. Unaware Liz is listening, he dismisses the need for a legal ceremony and even makes a crude remark about Liz already having a child with another man. Liz steps forward, firmly reminding Luke of how happy he was with Laura. When Lucky warns that if his father can't support them, he shouldn't come at all, Luke agrees. Just before the wedding, yeah, I don't remember Luke being nasty to Liz.
I think he was in that moment just because he was so over relationships and stuff.
Okay. Just before the wedding, Liz is working at the hospital when she's kidnapped by Manny Ruiz, who forced her to tend to his gunshot wound. We should count how many times Liz has been kidnapped.
Yes.
I think so far it's been 3, and it's only 2005. Manny forces her to tend to his gunshot wound. She manages to escape and calls Lucky, who arrives with backup. Manny has already disappeared. Though shaken, Liz insists she was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Meanwhile, Emily and Nicholas finalize their secret wedding surprise for Liz and Lucky. Nicholas also grapples with the revelation that Courtney is pregnant, and he assures her he will support her. Helena resurfaces, threatening to control the life of Nicholas's unborn child. Nicholas and Emily push back against her manipulations while Courtney struggles with her secret. The big day arrives, and Emily and Nicholas unveil their surprise wedding for Liz and Lucky at Windermere. Audrey tells Liz how proud she is of the woman she's become, and Leslie reminds Lucky of how much Laura would love to have seen this day. Luke, initially hesitant, has a change of heart and arrives just in time. Liz and Lucky exchange heartfelt vows, confessing their undying love. As they share their first dance, their joy is momentarily overshadowed by Rick's brooding presence, and Courtney's paternity test results hang in the air. Despite the uncertainties around them, Liz and Lucky revel in their happiness, ready to begin their lives together. Lucky and Liz sneak away in search of a private moment and stumble upon Jax's empty train car. Relishing a rare moment alone, they dance together and cuddle, basking in their love. Meanwhile, disaster strikes as the train wreck leaves passengers injured and trapped. Sonny manages to free himself from the wreckage and helps Alexis, Rick, and Reese to safety. Monica fiercely defends Jason's right to refuse surgery, despite Tony's insistence that he isn't in a state to make such a decision. Liz's joy turns to terror when she finds Lucky near the railroad tracks, bleeding heavily from his injuries. As Jason learns of the crash carrying Robin and Sam, Luke is thrown into a panic upon discovering that his son was aboard the ill-fated train. In the tunnels, Lucky, barely clinging to consciousness, holds Liz's hands and thanks her for the happy life they have built together. Just as he whispers a heartfelt goodbye, the tunnel collapses, burying him alive. Liz frantically fights to reach him, refusing to let him go. Luke arrives just in time and joins her in digging through the rubble, desperately working to uncover Lucky. Their relief is short-lived, however, when they realize he isn't breathing.
I hope he makes it.
I know.
Liz springs into action, performing CPR with everything she has until Lucky finally takes a gasping breath. As he weakly regains consciousness, Luke insists they need to move him before the tunnel becomes even more unstable. Liz, fearing further injury, pleads for more time, but Lucky, even his father's son, insists Luke is right. With Nicholas's help, they carefully lift Lucky and begin carrying him towards the exit, where Jax and Alcazar are working to clear a path. Just as they manage to pass Lucky through, the tunnel collapses again, separating Liz and Nicholas from others. Trapped beneath the rubble, Liz begins to panic. Nicholas tries to keep her calm, but they soon realize they are being overcome by toxic gas. As Liz weakens and collapses until Nicholas's arms, he fights to stay conscious long enough to find a way out. Later, he successfully stops the leak, and the two share a moment of reflection about their future. Liz speaks dreamily about reuniting with Lucky, going on their long-delayed honeymoon, and hosting Nicholas and Emily at Kelly's to share their photos. Nicholas teases her for playing matchmaker even while buried underground, but before they can think of a way to escape, they both pass out. Meanwhile, Jax, furious at Mac for his slow response, takes matters into his own hands and digs through the rubble himself. I mean, would you really just sit there and wait for Mac anyway?
Right.
He finds Liz and Nicholas and helps free them, telling Liz that Lucky is in surgery. Overwhelmed with relief, Liz convinces Luke to help her catch a ride in a news helicopter back to the hospital. She arrives just in time to see Lucky waking up from surgery, but her joy is short-lived as he suddenly goes into cardiac arrest. Liz cries out for help as doctors rush in, performing CPR and using paddles to restart his heart. When Lucky finally stabilizes, he groggily opens his eyes. Luke tells him he should be thanking Liz, who never gave up on him. Aw. As
Mm.
Lucky as Lucky begins his recovery, Liz remains by his side, but they are soon faced with another challenge, their growing medical debt. Nicholas, seeing their struggle, offers to pay the bills, but Lucky refuses, determined to take care of his own family. Nicholas, unwilling to take no for an answer, insists on helping anyway. Amidst all this, Lulu unexpectedly asks Lucky and Liz if she can move in with them. I don't remember that. Liz,
Mm-mm.
sensing an ulterior motive, is worried, while Lucky, even ever the protective older brother, tries to reassure her. However, when Luke intervenes and insists that Lulu live with him instead, she reacts with resentment. She lashes out at him for his years of abandonment and accuses him of only caring now because Nicholas is an option. Luke, taken aback, finally admits something that she has longed to hear. He does love her. Though stunned, Lulu agrees to at least consider living with him. Back home, Lucky and Liz finally return to the comfort of their house, only to find it decorated for Christmas by Nicholas and Courtney. Though grateful, both seem uneasy about Courtney's presence. They share a nostalgic evening reminiscing about Nicholas's early days in Port Charles, though Emily's name is mentioned more than once, making Courtney visibly uncomfortable. Well, duh. Sensing the tension, Nicholas quickly makes an excuse to leave with her. Well, like, yeah, why are we talking about past Christmases? Like, that's not going to bring up Emily
Right.
and whatever. Like, I know you didn't like Courtney, but that was just rude. Meanwhile, Lulu, in a misguided attempt to help Lucky, swipes Tracy's PDA to access her bank accounts. When she
Oh
is
my
caught,
gosh. I wanted one of those so badly, and they were so expensive, and I could not afford one.
why did you need one? What were you going to use it for?
In 2005, I was a single mom in college with two kids
Yeah,
to keep track of everything.
I feel like that was an unnecessary expense. I'm glad you didn't buy one.
I didn't know
When
smartphones were going to come out later. I still am very much a pen to paper person, though. So,
yes,
but
exactly.
still, I was very, very jealous of people who had them.
When she is caught, she tries to apologize, but it's clear that she's still scheming. Later, Jesse and Maxie bring a surprise pizza night to Lucky and Liz. Though Lucky, preoccupied with his growing obsession to take down Manny, warns Jesse to keep him informed on the case. At the hospital, Lucky and several officers prepare to transport Manny to county jail. When Manny makes a disturbing comment about Liz, Lucky immediately orders her to leave the room. Liz, however, refuses to back down, insisting she doesn't complain about the dangers of his job, so he shouldn't try to control hers. Oh, good point, Liz. I like it. Later, Liz confides in Nicholas about her concerns for Lucky and about how she tried to push Emily and Nicholas back together. Nicholas appreciates her efforts, but when Emily arrives, Liz quickly retreats, still convinced that Emily is lying to herself about being over Nicholas. Meanwhile, Lucky warns Jason that if Manny dies during surgery, Durant is ready to arrest him. Sam, furious at the accusation, defends Jason, but Lucky remains firm, reminding them that Jason has the power to make things happen whenever he wants. At the hospital, Rick stops to chat with Liz, reflecting on how fatherhood has changed him since having Molly. He admits that the train wreck brought him and Alexis back together after their split over Sunny. Apologizing for his behavior at her wedding, he tells Liz that she was a beautiful bride. She thanks him and reassures him that she will always cherish their past. I feel like Liz is still like reliving that whole sentence and she needs to stop.
Yeah.
Later, Liz and Lucky enjoy a rare, peaceful night at home despite Cameron's flu. As Lucky reads her a Christmas poem, Liz drifts off to sleep in his arms. Oh, we need to see some
Aw.
of that now that she's in the hospital. Like, whenever she
Yes.
gets home, she can just lay on the couch and he can read poetry to her. It would be so cute.
This is still Greg Vaughn, though.
I know, but the meaning is still there.
This Lucky sings.
Exactly. But I don't know. I can't sing. Do people who can sing just like randomly break out in song to their loved ones, like when they're sitting on the couch? The way that
I
you
feel
would
like
like
if you were
read
comforting
poetry.
them, you'd like sing like a little lullaby or something. I mean, he sang Elizabeth to her.
He did, but like I feel like that's not an every night occurrence the way that like maybe reading poetry would be.
Okay, that's true.
So I don't know what people who can sing do because I can't sing. But Meanwhile, Dylan, eager to get out of babysitting Lulu, convinces her to visit GH and speak with Liz about volunteering. At first, Lulu resists, but as Liz shares how working at the hospital put life into perspective, Lulu softens. She admits her fear of disappearing like Laura and runs off. Liz gently advises Dylan not to push Lulu away. Too many people have done that already. When a dead truck battery ruins their plans, Liz and Lucky make the most of it, having a playful snowball fight in the park. Lucky finally gets the truck running and they drive off laughing. And then later, Lucky visits Luke. Frustrated over Lulu's reckless driving, he urges his father to step up and set boundaries before she gets hurt. When Lulu arrives and realizes Lucky told Luke, she lashes out. Luke attempts to discipline, but Lulu dismisses him, demanding to know why he is really married to Tracy. As Luke deflects, she finally breaks down, saying all she really wants is her mother before storming off in tears. Tracy later finds Luke deep in thought, and they commiserate over their failures as parents. Luke admits he runs off at Christmas to avoid disappointing Lulu and confesses that he secretly visits Laura every year. I feel like that's all information that he should have told Lulu, and then it would have made her feel better. We didn't really need to keep it a secret. At GH, Liz and Emily catch up, with Liz urging Emily to date casually. Emily impulsively decides to ask out the next man who steps off the elevator, Patrick. That evening, Liz runs into Nicholas on the docks and helps him process his issues with Jax and Courtney, advising him to consider what's best for the baby. At the hospital, Liz and Robin gossip about Emily and Patrick's night out. Meanwhile, Coleman gleefully tells Nicholas and Lucky about Emily and Patrick's bar brawl, where Patrick cleverly used billiard balls to take down a drunken troublemaker, and Emily smashed a pool cue over his back. Sonny later approaches Liz and Lucky at the bar, mentioning what he heard. Liz warns him that Patrick has a reputation as a player.
No, I don't remember that either, but also... was this...
I just feel like that would be fun, weird but fun to watch. Emily trying to have a date with Patrick. And then them getting into a bar brawl and Sonny letting Liz and Lucky know that it says Liz warns him that Patrick has a reputation as a player. I'm assuming that that's supposed to say her, because why would she warn Sonny that Patrick's a player?
Maybe just she said.
I mean, I know Sonny and Emily had that fling that was gross.
But the next day, oh no.
We get to the next paragraph.
It is. She did tell Sonny because Sonny corners Patrick at GH, making veiled threats about his hands. Oh no, this is afterwards, because we literally just went through all this with Sonny and Emily. They were like a side story. We just went through it.
I think we block it out because we both get the ick every time we talk about it.
Yeah. But also, I mean, we've recorded a lot of these now.
Yes.
So, yes. He threatens Patrick if he hurts Emily. Liz later visits Sonny, not to lecture, but to urge him to be careful with Emily. She's still fragile after the rape. Later, when Emily returns Sonny's flowers, frustrated by his mixed signals, she demands an answer. Does he want her or not? As she turns to leave, Sonny pulls her into a lingering kiss. At GH, Jax finds Liz and presses her about Emily and Nicholas. Liz urges him to stop manipulating them just so Courtney will be freed up. He should focus on what's best for the baby. Jax later learns from a nosy neighbor that Courtney and her boyfriend have gone on vacation. Emily dresses up for a date, and Liz jokingly hopes it's not with Patrick, only for Patrick to appear behind her, teasing her. Just then, Sonny arrives, and Jason witnesses them together. Sonny tells Jason they will talk about this later, knowing that Jason disapproves of him and Emily. Before leaving, Jason wishes Emily a happy birthday. Meanwhile, at Coleman's, Lucas attacks his attacker, Frank, before Lucky and Jesse intervene. Frank immediately presses charges and outs Lucas as gay in front of Lucky, who grows frustrated with his cousin's secrecy. Okay. Later at the PCPD, Lucas confesses to Bobby that he is gay, and Bobby is stunned, and Lucas mistakes her reaction for disappointment and bolts out. Liz, seeing Bobby's distress, helps Lucky understand what Lucas is going through. At GH, Liz tends to Manny, who unnerves her by calling her by her first name and saying he wants to be friends. There's quotes around friends. Lorenzo later warns Manny to eliminate Sonny and Jason, or he'll expose Samantha's memory chip. Sam had a memory chip?
No idea.
Okay. Lucas begins counseling with Lainey, reluctantly opening up about when he first realized he might be gay. Okay, we are reading how this is written. We used fandom and soapcentral.net.com and kind of like smushed them together. And yeah, just throwing that out there. At the nurse's station, Liz urges Bobby to accept her son. When Bobby imagines Cameron being beaten for being gay, she admits that she might react the same way. Okay, this kind of makes a little bit more sense. Bobby was concerned with
Right,
Lucas's
exactly.
safety and how it was being okay. I'm like, why do I not remember Bobby having a
Yeah.
problem with this?
No, she didn't have a problem. I mean, that was the whole point. He went out with somebody and got beat up. And so that's unfortunately, even though it was not that long ago, it was still 20 years ago, people weren't as accepting as they should have been. And so she didn't want I mean, we just talked about it a couple weeks ago. We
I
thought
was
that
gonna
that guy
say, I'm like,
was
what has actually changed so much? Because that was yours and I's first instinct when he met Marco,
right.
was we thought he could have been targeted. Oh,
Exactly. So in the beginning he was, and Bobby was concerned about his safety, understandably.
yeah. Okay. So then at GH, Lucky and Liz discussed Manny's release in his community service at the hospital. Liz is uneasy, and Lucky shares her concerns, especially about Manny being around Emily. Later, Lucky and Jesse track Manny's ankle monitor signal to Jason's penthouse. Meanwhile, Sam encounters Manny in a stairwell, and though he doesn't physically attack her, she is terrified. Lucky and Jesse arrive in time to intervene but can't arrest Manny. Frustrated, Lucky warns Manny to stay away from people he claims he wants to apologize to, including Liz. Manny responds with unsettling arrogance, even telling Lucky to say hello to his wife. Then Lucky and Liz plan a weekend getaway at Nicholas's cabin. Before Liz can join him, Lucky starts to feel ill. Determined to set up the cabin, he goes ahead alone. Once he's there, he becomes disoriented and passes out before he can start a fire. Hours later, Liz realizes something is wrong and sends Jesse to check on him. Jesse finds Lucky unconscious outside in the cold and barely alive. As Jesse calls for help, gunmen storm the cabin, knocking Jesse out. When he comes to, the cabin is in flames and Lucky is gone. Lucky regains consciousness in a lab at Ceruleum Industries. We'll go with
Sure.
that. Restrained to a bed. He overhears that he has been used as a test subject for a potential cure. The doctor coldly informs him that he will be pushed to the brink of death before they attempt to save him. Lucky fights to break free and even manages to loosen a restraint, but his captors subdue him and strap him back down. Back in Port Charles, Liz is frantic with worry. As the outbreak spreads, she pieces together that Alcazar tampered with medical records to manipulate who gets the first doses of the antidote. Though furious, she stays silent, knowing to do anything to save Lucky. Meanwhile, Jason and Carly track the virus back to the Markham Islands, where they uncover Ceruleum Industries' role. Ooh, and as Jason and Carly are searching for Lucky, they come across a body bag, fearing that it could be Lucky. It turns out to be a dead employee, and they take the key card from the corpse to access the secret facility. Inside, they find Lucky strapped to a bed, recently injected with what he believes is the antidote. Carly, desperate to confirm, considers injecting herself, but Jason stops her. Meanwhile, Liz receives a call from Lucky, but the connection is bad. It sounds like he is saying goodbye before the call drops. Distraught, she collapses, but after gathering herself, she continues working to help others. She shares what she knows with Luke and Robert, who argue over Robert's connection to Ceruleum. Crylium. Ceruleum?
I don't know.
Crylium?
Kylian?
Okay. Despite tensions, they team up to find Lucky. Back at the lab, Jason and Carly's rescue mission is interrupted when armed men storm in, kidnapping Lucky again. Carly was injected with the virus, and Jason rushes her to a hotel where a suspicious doctor attempts to treat her. Realizing the doctor works for Crylium, Jason forces him to reveal Lucky's new location. Authorities take the doctor into custody after Jason offered Jason a resource to track Lucky down. Meanwhile, Carly is delirious from the virus, and she believes that she and Jason are lovers. But he gently reminds her they're just friends. At the hospital, Liz continues receiving calls from Lucky's phone with no response on the other end. Overwhelmed, she retreats to the nurse's quarters and breaks down in tears, only to hear Lucky's voice behind her. She returns to find him standing there alive.
Yay.
Later, Luke and Robert investigate a mysterious woman who stole the last of the antidote. The chocolate wrapper at the scene triggers Luke's memory, though Robert dismisses it as a waste of time. Carly, however, reacts strangely to the evidence, making Luke suspicious that she knows more than she is letting on. Meanwhile, Lucky asserts himself as a lead investigator on the case, impressing Robert with his determination. As life in Port Charles resume, Lucky and Liz offer to comfort Lucas as he grieves Tony's death. This is when I started watching again because I remember the first episode back is when Tony died.
Aww.
Yeah, like one of the first or two. Is it weird? Like I remember I was cleaning my chairs. I was Murphy oil soaping my chairs.
That's funny.
Yep. Liz confronts Alcazar about manipulating medical records, warning him that playing God comes with consequences. Elsewhere, Lucky and Liz arrive at Nicholas's place before Courtney's memorial service, only to find the house in disarray. Unaware that he has passed out behind the couch with an empty bottle, they leave for the service, concerned about his absence. Lucky invites Nicholas to join them and Liz at the casino's reopening, but Nicholas declines, claiming that he has a meeting. Lucky doesn't believe him and thinks that he is isolating himself in grief over Courtney's death. Meanwhile, outside Kelly's, Liz extends the same invitation to Emily, who initially refuses, but saying that she has to study. Liz convinces her to come, hoping to distract her from Sunny, whom she assumes is no longer in Emily's life. At the casino, Liz and Emily enjoy a drink, with Liz encouraging Emily to let loose and have fun. Emily relaxes until Nicholas unexpectedly arrives, dressed up and meeting Lucky. He greets them and compliments Emily, who lies and says she and Sunny are over. The situation intensifies when Sunny arrives with Max, causing the room to go silent. Liz observes the tension and later tells Lucky that she believes there is still something between Sunny and Emily. Later, Emily abruptly leaves, making an excuse about a lab report. Jason watches her go, suspecting that she is heading to Sunny, and he follows. He arrives just in time to see Emily and Sunny in a passionate kiss.
Yuck.
Yeah. At the Haunted Star, Luke vents to Alexis about Tracy holding his finances over his head. Lucky wins $3,000 at the tables, hesitating to accept it, but Luke insists. Later, Nicholas unexpectedly helps Luke's situation by losing $30,000 gambling.
Wow.
At the hospital, Lucky shares his risky plan with Liz. He intends to catch the corrupt officer who helped Alcazar remove Manny Ruiz's ankle monitor. Exposing them can earn him a promotion and raise, helping him and Liz out of debt. Liz is worried and goes to Jason, asking him to do whatever it takes to keep Lucky safe. Meanwhile, Manny senses danger and prepares to act first, hiding a gun in a pocket.
Dun, dun, dun. During a carnival at the park, a disguised gunman targets Diego. Lucky and Jesse notice the threat and warn everyone to get down. The shooter fires, missing Diego but hitting Jesse, who collapses with a head wound. Maxie panics, desperate for help, while Liz and Emily rush in to stop the bleeding. Mac arrives, comforting a distraught Maxie. Jesse is taken to the hospital and Maxie insists on going with him. At GH, Patrick wants to operate immediately, but Robin argues Jesse isn't stable enough. Maxie, desperate, gives consent. Meanwhile, Lucky tells Mac he has been investigating Alcazar's ties to Manny and wanted more evidence before reporting it. Mac is upset, but focused on the more pressing matter. Liz stays by Lucky's side, sensing his guilt over Jesse's condition. Later, Patrick regretfully informs Maxie that Jesse didn't survive. Elsewhere, Manny secretly kills the wounded assassin in the ER to cover his tracks. Emily visits Sunny where he tells her to stay away for her safety. Jason, suspicious of Emily's secrecy, follows her again. Meanwhile, Lucky, tormented by Jesse's death, hears a rumor that Patrick intentionally lost a patient to secure a liver for Noah. Furious, Lucky confronts Patrick and slams him against the wall, threatening to arrest him. Liz, seeing Lucky's anger, worries about the toll everything is taking on him. At the Cosmopolitan Hotel, Jason prevents an assassin attempt on Sunny. As police investigate, Nicholas realizes with shock that Emily is romantically involved with Sunny. Patrick, devastated by Jesse's loss, decides to become his father's living donor. Back at GH, Liz stands by Lucky, reassuring him as he struggles with guilt over Jesse. They discuss their growing financial strain, his dangerous job, and the weight of his responsibilities. Lucky, determined to provide for Liz and Cameron, insists he needs to take risks to get ahead. Liz worries about what that could mean for their future. Meanwhile, Luke and Lulu argue over her relationship with Nicholas. Sky reels from Lorenzo's confession about Manny's leverage over him. The night chaos leaves secrets exposed, relationships tested, and tensions running high. As Patrick prepares for surgery, he learns he needs psychiatric clearance first, delaying the procedure. He should have known that. He's a doctor. What the heck?
Right.
Meanwhile, Lucky, burdened with guilt over Jesse's death, tenders his resignation from the police force. Despite his struggles, Liz surprises him by saying she's relieved. She no longer has to worry about him putting his life on the line. However, Lucky feels like a failure, insisting he was supposed to provide for her and Cameron. Liz reassures him that they will figure things out together. I don't really like the fact that she was so supportive of him giving up his career, because he actually liked being a police officer, and she should have tried to help him through that instead of being like, oh, now I don't have to worry about you getting killed. Like, It's not about you, sister. It's about him. At the hospital, Liz heroically saves Sky from Manny's attack, but as she tries to flee, Manny grabs her, holding a knife to her throat. Lucky arrives with his gun drawn, but Manny threatens to kill Liz unless he lowers his weapon. Forced to comply, Lucky offers to take Liz's place as a hostage, but Manny refuses. Sky calls 911 as Manny drags Liz into the stairwell. As police swarm the hospital, Jason joins the search while Manny smuggles Liz out in a body bag, planning to escape through the morgue. Liz discreetly grabs her phone, manages to call Lucky, but Manny catches her and taunts her before taking the phone himself. He tells Lucky to come find them, and Liz screams that it's a trap. Ignoring the warning, Lucky rushes the docks without telling Mac. At the pier, Lucky confronts Manny, but is overpowered in the ensuing fight. Badly injured, he can barely move as Manny prepares to flee with Liz. Just then, Jason arrives, gun drawn. Liz ducks as Jason fires, hitting Manny, who stumbles into the water just as a boat explodes. Liz immediately calls 911 and rushes to Lucky's side, begging him not to move. Despite the pain, Lucky insists he's fine, but Liz refuses to let him downplay his injuries. He is rushed to emergency surgery, leaving Liz to wait anxiously. During Lucky's recovery, Liz is devastated when Epiphany informs her that the hospital won't cover Lucky's surgery or care. His resignation took effect before his injury, leaving him with massive medical bills. Liz, exhausted and overwhelmed, tries to stall before telling Lucky. When she finally does, he insists on leaving the hospital immediately to stop racking up more expenses. Liz refuses, helping him back into bed and pressing his pain medication button to ease his discomfort. She urges him to accept help from Nicholas, but Lucky, feeling ashamed, refuses to take another handout from his brother. Why did she tell him that while he was still in the hospital?
Right.
Like, wouldn't you keep that secret? I know you're not supposed to keep secrets in marriage, but if that was the situation you were in, wouldn't you not tell JD and just be like,
yeah,
you're going to get the care you're going to get, and we'll deal with it when it's all done?
Exactly.
Determined to push through his recovery, Lucky stubbornly forces himself through physical therapy, despite Liz pleading with him to take it slow. Watching him struggle, she confides in Patrick, who understands all too well what it's like to be a bad patient. When Lucky sees them talking, his insecurities flare. The more Liz encourages him to rest, the more he feels like she sees him as weak. Against medical advice, Lucky insists on attending Jesse's funeral. Liz tries to stop him, reminding him that he just had back surgery, but he refuses to miss the chance to honor his fallen partner. With Luke and Lulu's support, Lucky arrives in a wheelchair, and as the service ends, he struggles to his feet in pain, saluting Jesse. Liz watching, heartbroken, knowing how much he's pushing himself past his limits. Back at the hospital, Liz's stress intensifies when the administration threatens to transfer Lucky to county due to his lack of insurance. Jason offers to cover the cost, but Liz, overwhelmed and feeling powerless, refuses. She later vents to him about how her life feels like it's spiraling, and Jason urges her to be there for Emily as Sunny's world threatens to pull her in too deep. Dun dun dun. As I hate that they put them together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't matter how many times we read it, I'm still just gonna whine that I did not like Emily with Sunny.
It's like they were just using a dartboard or something. I was like, who should Emily be with next? Boom, Sunny. Okay, yeah, sure. Let's wreck that friendship. And
Right. It's just weird. As Lucky's frustration mounts, he turns to his pain medication for relief, secretly hoarding pills and growing increasingly irritable. He misrepresents Liz's concern, accusing her of treating him like an invalid. While she works extra shifts to cover their bills, he begins resenting her absence. His paranoia worsens, and he convinces himself that Liz is keeping secrets from him. One night, Nicholas finds Lucky in his hospital bed loading his service revolver. Alarmed, Nicholas takes the gun, telling him he's not thinking straight. Lucky rants that Liz is lying to him and probably cheating with Patrick. Nicholas firmly tells him that the painkillers are messing with his head, but Lucky refuses to listen. Later, when Robin stops by to give him his next round of meds, Lucky questions her about Patrick and Liz, fishing for confirmation of his suspicion. Robin, annoyed, insists that Liz loves him and wouldn't betray him. When Liz finally visits, she finds Lucky distant and agitated. As she climbs into bed beside him, trying to offer comfort, he poignantly asks her where she was last night. Liz realizes just how deep his paranoia has become and silently worries that this is only the beginning.
At Jake's, Lucky meets with Detective Rodriguez, who reveals the address Lucky provided leads to the side entrance at the Cosmopolitan Hotel. Would a side entrance have its own address?
No.
No.
Unless it said, like, entrance B.
Right. But, I mean,
Yeah.
if it was the hotel, he could just go look at it and be like, oh, that's an alley that's right next to the hotel.
Right.
Rodriguez advises him to move on, but Lucky instead asks him to tail Patrick. Later, Lucky confides in Nicholas about Liz's supposed affair, but Nicholas refuses to believe it, though he agrees to help. Meanwhile, Liz calls Patrick to inform him of Sam's diagnosis, unaware that Lucky has arrived at the hospital with flowers and overhears part of her conversation. Misinterpreting the call, Lucky leaves. Patrick assures Jason that money isn't necessary for him to proceed with Sam's surgery. He asks Liz to only assist if she's confident it's the right choice. Liz, honoring her oath, agrees. She reassures Jason that she believes the surgery is Sam's best chance, and despite his initial hesitation, Jason ultimately concurs. After the operation, Mac and Detective Rodriguez arrest Elizabeth, Patrick, Epiphany, and Jason for violating an injunction. Jason insists that he alone should be arrested, claiming he coerced Patrick into performing the surgery. Liz backs Jason's account, and Patrick confirms. At the station, Stan, Epiphany's son, attempts to bail Epiphany out, but she refuses. Lucky arrives to post Liz's bail, but she declines, vowing to stay until everyone is released. Mac gives Lucky another chance to speak with Liz, but instead, Lucky chooses to confront Patrick. Meanwhile, Alexis, despite disagreeing with the operation, drops the charges. In private, she tells Jason she will tolerate his methods if he allows her full responsibility over Sam's care. Jason was angered and reminds her that he only told her about Sam being her daughter so they could form a bond before Sam dies. Following a hospital checkup, Lucky pressures Patrick to renew his painkiller prescription, but Patrick refuses. Soon after, Lucky learns that Liz and Patrick have been meeting at the Cosmopolitan Hotel. He waits at the hospital for them to return and overhears Patrick praise Liz. Jealous, Lucky accuses Liz of having an affair. Liz confirms that they have been meeting at the hotel, but reveals it's for a well-paying side job assisting Patrick with a patient. She explains she kept it from Lucky to avoid worrying him, but Lucky resents being treated like a child. I'm kind of with Lucky here. Like, if you're going to a public hotel with a man repeatedly during the week, there's a good chance someone's going to see you. You should probably give a heads up.
That is suspicious. I will agree with him. That was not the meds talking. That's just odd.
Yeah. Later, while passing Kelly's, Lucky runs into Maxie. They reminisce about Jesse, and as their song plays, she asks him to dance. I'm assuming the song with Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, on the docks, Liz vents to Jason about her fight with Lucky. She shares that Lucky's frustration stems from Jason saving her from Manny instead of him, along with his insecurities about her friendship with Patrick. No, he's insecure about the fact that you lied about it and withheld information about being with another man in a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. That's
right.
Jason, in turn, reveals that he left Sam because his life is too dangerous. Liz urges him not to shut people out, but Jason believes he has no choice. At the hospital, a distraught Sam refuses to accept that Jason has left her. Alexis tries to calm her, but as her agitation arises, she suffers a nosebleed. Patrick attributes it to stress and advises eliminating its cause. As Jason arrives with Liz, he overhears Sam's condition but hesitates to enter her room. Liz later visits Jason to thank him for covering Lucky's medical bills, knowing that Lucky wouldn't accept the help himself. Back at the hospital, Liz runs into Emily, who plans to see Jason. Liz unnerves her by suggesting she not pressure Jason into returning to Sam, understanding why Jason believes the choice was necessary. Despite this, Emily visits Jason to persuade him not to make any more mistakes. No pressure.
All right.
Jason, you must be perfect from now on. Whew.
Yep.
Maxie crosses paths with Lucky at the hospital, thanking him for the previous night's company and dance. Realizing he might be in pain, she suggests that he skip therapy. Lucky explains that he's actually there to request a refill on his prescription, but Patrick has denied it. Maxie suggests Patrick might be delaying his recovery out of interest in Liz and urges him to find a new doctor. After Lucky leaves, she retrieves his empty pill bottle from the trash. Maxie secretly supplies Lucky with stolen prescription sheets, but he warns her of the legal risk. Later, Lucky tells Maxie he got the prescription filled, and she promises never to do it again. At the hospital, Lucky informs Liz that he dropped Cameron off at the daycare before revealing that he has been called back to duty. Liz insists he is not well enough. Mac overhears and clarifies that the new sergeant mistakenly scheduled Lucky despite his disability leave. When Lucky protests, Mac refuses to budge. Later, Lucky accuses Liz of undermining him in front of his boss. Now that's a pride thing.
Yeah.
Nicholas intervenes, siding with Liz, but Lucky lashes out at the both of them and storms off. Meanwhile, Liz prevents Sam from leaving her hospital bed to find Jason. Later, Nicholas visits Sam, bringing chocolates and offering to help. That does help, Nicholas. Thank you. Chocolate always helps. Sam asks him to take her to Jason, but Liz enters and insists that Sam is too weak to leave. Sam then asks Liz if she'd fight for Lucky if she were losing him. When Liz dodges the question, Sam pulls out her IV and sneaks out to find Jason. I could never do that. I never understand when I see that on TV. Like, people just pulling out their own IVs. Like, wouldn't that hurt?
You're not supposed to, like, they always do it on TV so dramatically, like they just rip it out. Like, my kids know how to take theirs out because of their dad being EMT. And so, like, when Megan would go to the hospital, she'd be like, okay, I'm done. And, like, gently pulls it out. It's still gross. Like, I won't watch it because that's gross.
No.
But to, like, rip it out, like, you're going to hurt something. Like, it's like a needle up in your vein. Don't just rip that out.
Yeah.
And I would think that would definitely cause more bleeding. If you're going on the run to find someone, don't you want to be as, like, least complicated as possible? Like, I don't want to be bleeding out.
Yeah, that's a bit. At Jake's, Lucky drinks and takes a pill as Maxie confesses she couldn't bring herself to visit Jesse's grave. Lucky offers to go with her. At the grave, they share a kiss, but Maxie quickly feels guilty. Lucky consoles her, saying she shouldn't regret her choices. Nicholas proposes building a house for Lucky and Liz, believing it would help his brother's recovery. Liz appreciates the gesture, but doubts that Lucky will accept. When Lucky hears the proposal, he angrily refuses. After Nicholas leaves, Lucky admits to Liz that he's frustrated and in pain. He tries to comfort him, but when Cameron cries, she steps away. Alone, Lucky prepares to take more pills, but Liz returns and questions where he got them. He lies, saying that they were refills. Then Dr. Callie Lee reports stolen prescription sheets, prompting Maxie to warn Lucky not to fill any more. Lucky insists he's done with pills, but Maxie still offers to steal more. Later, Liz finds Lucky at the nurse's station with flowers and an apology for his behavior. They share a kiss as Maxie watches, clearly jealous. Patrick confronts Lucky for accusing him of pursuing Liz, warning him that his paranoia will push her away. Lucky sees Patrick and Liz together and takes more pills. Meanwhile, Jason checks on Sam through Liz, but Sam catches him and demands he speak to her directly. Liz encourages Jason to hear Sam out, leading to an emotional conversation where Jason admits he still loves her but can't be with her. Elsewhere, Robin grows jealous of Patrick's bond with Liz and warns him against undermining Lucky's recovery. Patrick teases her jealousy, and Robin reminds him if he wants to sleep around, he should be honest about her HIV status. She later apologizes to Liz, who advises her not to trust Patrick too easily. When Sam is discharged, Alexis warns Sunny not to cause trouble for Sam or Christina. Jason arrives too late to see Sam, and as he talks with Liz, Manny watches them from the shadows. At the hospital, Liz urges Jason to take Sam back, but Jason remains distant. Meanwhile, Jax admits to a devastated Carly that he told Nicholas the truth about John's paternity. That's Spencer. John was Jax's dad. As Mac investigates the robbery, Tracy begins to suspect that Luke is behind it. Jason asks Liz to pack up Sam's belongings while Alexis confronts Sunny about his threats. Lucky's insecurities are at an all-time high when he accuses Liz of sneaking around with Patrick. Frustrated and hurt, Liz reminds him that she is Patrick's patient. She is Patrick's patient's private nurse, and they packed a peck of pickled peppers. And anytime they spent together is strictly professional. But Lucky refuses to believe her, his jealousy clouding his judgment. When she walks away, Epiphany, overhearing their argument, marches to Lucky and gives him a no-nonsense reality check. Boy, you better pull your head out of your behind before you lose a good woman. Dr. Drake hasn't even seen Elizabeth today, so unless she's got a twin running around this hospital, you need to get your facts straight, Epiphany scolds. Lucky is embarrassed, but still clinging to suspicion, and he doesn't back down. His paranoia festers, leading him to track down Patrick at the pier. When he sees Patrick on the phone, he assumes he's talking to Liz and snatches it away, only to hear Epiphany's irritated voice on the other end. Patrick, annoyed, warns Lucky that if he doesn't get his act together, Liz will leave him, and there will be someone else waiting to catch her. Lucky stubbornly insists that his marriage will be fine as long as Patrick stays away from Liz. Liz watches helplessly as Lucky spirals, his mood erratic and on edge. He's moody, erratic, and on edge, and she knows it's more than just his injury of being off the force. Desperate to help, she visits Jason and asks for a favor. Help Lucky orchestrate an arrest to boost his confidence. Jason is amused by her logic and listens as Liz explains that Lucky has been blaming himself for Jesse's death and needs to feel like a competent cop again. Though skeptical, Jason ultimately agrees to set up a bust, making sure that Lucky gets all the credit.
That was nice of Liz, but...
Yeah.
At the police station, Lucky spends hours in the shooting range, obsessively trying to prove he can still do his job. His hands tremble slightly, sweat drips down his face, and his heart pounds as the drugs in his system wear off. Detective Rodriguez walks in and catches him popping another pill. That's not from your original prescription, is it? Rodriguez asks suspiciously. Lucky forces a laugh. Of course it is. I just take them when I overdo it, that's all. Rodriguez doesn't look convinced, but lets it go for now. That night, Lucky goes on a stakeout, hiding behind crates in a dark alley. His pupils are dilated, his breathing is shallow, and he grips his gun tightly, trying to steady himself. Suddenly, Maxie appears. Surprised, Lucky grabs her and pulls her down beside him, demanding to know why she's there. Maxie, however, immediately notices the telltale signs of withdrawal. Lucky, are you sure you should be handling a gun right now? She whispers. I have it under control, he snaps, though his hands say otherwise. Before she can argue, Diego arrives to buy a gun from an arms dealer. Lucky leaps up to make the arrest, but he stumbles, bumping into the crates. The noise alerts the dealer, who grabs his gun and starts shooting. At the hospital, Liz grows anxious when she can't reach Lucky and asks Jason to check on him. Jason arrives at the scene and, seeing Lucky in trouble, takes action. Without Lucky realizing, Jason shoots the arms dealer in the leg, making it look like Lucky took the shot. When the other officer arrives, Lucky is praised as a hero. Back at the station, Mac promises to give him more active duty assignments, and the other officers applaud him. At the hospital, Patrick removes the bullet from the arms dealer and immediately realizes it couldn't have come from Lucky's gun. He tells Liz, who instantly knows Jason must have been involved. Though she doesn't say anything, her stomach twists and knots. Meanwhile, Lucky's addiction deepens. He meets Maxie at the hospital and convinces her to get him more pills. She hesitates but ultimately gives in, knowing he's too far gone to stop now. As Lucky pockets the pills, he runs into Patrick, who corners him. You're a cop, Spencer. You can't be handling a gun when you're strung out, Patrick warns. Lucky scoffs, brushing past him, but his hands shake as he walks away. Later, Epiphany pulls Liz aside. Honey, you need to open your eyes. Lucky is hooked on those pills and it's getting worse. If you don't say something, this is going to end badly. Liz, already suspecting the truth, finally lets herself admit it. I think you're right, she whispers. Liz arranges to meet Lucky, her heart pounding. When he arrives, she kisses him, then swiftly reaches into his pocket and pulls out a bottle of pills. Why did you lie to me? She demands. Lucky's face hardens. I need them, Liz. I can't afford to be in pain. If I go to Patrick, I'll be kicked off the force. You're handling guns, Lucky. What if you make a mistake? I won't, he insists. In a dramatic display, he throws the bottle into the water. See? I'm done. Liz hugs him, but her face is filled with doubt. She knows this isn't over. The withdrawal symptoms hit hard. Lucky becomes short-tempered and desperate. While taking a break outside Kelly's, he spots Maxie. Pulling her aside, he demands more pills, saying he can't afford to show weakness. Maxie hesitates, worried about getting caught, but Lucky's desperation convinces her. At the hospital, Epiphany tells Liz, if you don't stop making excuses for that man, you're going to end up identifying his body. I love Epiphany.
I know. I miss her so much.
I know. She was awesome. No nonsense. That night, Liz breaks down to Jason. My husband is addicted to pain medicine, she finally admits. Jason listens as she works through her emotions, torn between wanting to save Lucky and knowing she might not be able to. Just then, Jason's guards alert them. Lucky is at the penthouse. Liz quickly hides as Lucky walks in, asking for leads on Sam's shooting. As he leaves, Liz and Jason take a walk by the docks. Why did you hide from your own husband? Jason asks. Liz hesitates because I don't want him to know I've been coming to you for help. Jason nods, understanding. Before Liz can say anything else, they run into Sam. Suspicious, Sam demands to know what's going on. Liz keeps her answer vague, saying she was thanking Jason for his help with Lucky. Sam, frustrated, asks Jason, why do you keep helping her but won't give me a chance? Back at the hospital, Epiphany doesn't hold back. Elizabeth, you need to stop pretending that Lucky can fix this on his own. He needs help. Real help. Liz nods, realizing that no matter how much she wants to save Lucky, he has to want to save himself.
Yep.
It was all so good, though.
I know.
Like, even though it was bad, it was so good.
Well, because we talk about it. They can get ridiculous on some things, but, I mean, it was a quick slip down a very slippery slope, and he went down it,
Right.
But yeah, I think that's a good place to stop, and then we'll pick up on that next week and see what goes on with Lucky's pill addiction. But on Monday, we'll recap this week's shows.
Have more Lucky Liz, hopefully.
Yes.
So have a good weekend.
And we'll meet at the pier.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to go to peer54podcast.com to subscribe on your favorite platform. Don't forget to leave us a review.
And you can also follow us on many social media channels. Just search for Peer54 Podcast. Also, we are not perfect, so if there is something that we missed or messed up, just let us know by emailing us at peer54podcast@gmail.com.